Good morning and welcome to the Morning Outlook Report. I'm Rachel Jones reporting live from Kalkine TV Sydney studios. Now, Australian shares look set to continue their rise today, likely supported by gains in domestic miners and also energy stocks on the back of robust commodity prices and a strong overnight finish on Wall Street. At the closing bell, the S&P ASX 200 was 0.3% or 26 points higher at 7,441. The ASX 200 is expected to open the day 21 points or 0.3% higher this morning. Tech shares such as Afterpay and Xero are expected to do well today, and that's following a strong night on the tech-focused Nasdaq. Yesterday on the ASX, all sectors closed in the green except technology, that was down 0.7%, and industrials down 0.4%. Energy dominated the day, closing 2.6% higher, followed by utilities up 1.3% and materials up 1%. The best performing stock was Mineral Resources. They closed 9% higher following the restart of its Marble Lithium joint venture in the Wodgina lithium mine. The worst performing stock was Perpetual, closing 5.2% lower. And in local business news from this morning, Fonterra Co-operative Group today increased and narrowed its forecast in Farmgate Milk Price range to $7.90 New Zealand cents to $8.90 per kg milk solid, from $7.25 to $8.75 per kg MS. The midpoint of the range, which farmers are paid from, has increased to $8.40 from $8. Now, Fonterra CEO Miles Hurrell says the lift in the forecast Farmgate Milk Price range to $7.90 New Zealand dollars to $8.90 per kg milk solid, from $7.25 to $8.75. The midpoint of the range, which farmers are paid off, has increased to $8.40 per kg MS from $8 per kg MS. Fonterra CEO Miles Hurrell says the lift in the forecast is a result of continued demand for New Zealand dairy relative to supply. Moving on, an Australian clinical stage drug development company, Noxopharm, has treated the first patient in their Iconic 1 trial supported by Noxopharm and Bristol Squibb. A positive outcome would mean Vyonda resulting in more cancer types and more patients being responsive to immune checkpoint inhibitor therapy. And this opens up the multi-billion-dollar ICI market to Noxopharm. The Iconic 1 trial is a pilot phase 1 trial in approximately 30 cancer patients, combining Vyonda with the BMS drug Opdivo for the treatment of a range of tumour types. The trial is being conducted at a number of sites in Australia. And Wiser has reported that after a tenure of 6 years, non-executive director Christopher Whitehead will be retiring from the Wiser board with effect from the end of the Wiser AGM, which is on the 24th of November this year. He was appointed back in 2015 and has decided not to seek re-election to allow for board renewal, noting his long tenure and taking on additional business interests. Well, let's take a very short break here. Stay tuned to Kalkine TV. I'll be back with more soon.
Are you sick of paying through the roof for a product that doesn't truly suit you? Want to make sure that you get the best deal possible? Then let us help you. At Kalkine, we do the research, run the numbers, and take a look at the true value of the product to make sure that you're informed as a consumer. Whether it be the best streaming service to suit your binge-watching desires, the right broadband and NBN plans to ensure a no buffering experience, saving money with your energy, gas, and mobile plans, or treating yourself with a bit of retail therapy. We will break down all the details about every single deal, what's in it, how much it costs, and whether it's worth it for you. If you want to save money and stay informed, then subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon, as we will be rolling out a stack of content to keep you in the know.
Welcome back. I'm Rachel Jones and you're watching the Morning Outlook Report live on Kalkine TV. Over in Europe, the Pan-European Stock 600 gained 0.07%. Global stock markets were upbeat and US Treasury yields slipped as investors eyed better than expected US corporate earnings season that kicks into gear this week. US Treasury yields were lower as uncertainty about when the Federal Reserve would raise rates to curb rising inflation weighed on market sentiment. The benchmark US 10-year yield fell to 1.6352%. The US dollar rose from a one-month low on Monday ahead of central bank meetings and economic data coming later this week. And that was boosted by the prospect of a tighter US monetary policy. Iron ore prices were stable to start the week, though market sentiment remained weak as China's State Council proposed to strictly limit high carbon steel projects. That's according to a work document released over the weekend. Copper prices recovered yesterday after two consecutive negative sessions, supported by low inventories and the metal acting as a hedge against rising global inflation. Gold is trading around 1% higher against a retreat in the US bond yields and ahead of a raft of major central bank meetings this week. Spot gold gained 0.8% to $1,805.90 per ounce. Meanwhile, iron ore's most traded January contract on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange ended 1.7% higher at $107.85 a tonne. Oil prices continue to trade near multi-year highs against tight global supply and strengthening fuel demand in the US. Brent crude futures gained 0.6% to $86.07 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 0.2% to $83.96 a barrel in early afternoon trading. Have a great day trading today. Stay tuned to Kalkine for more market updates and economic news live throughout the day. This is Rachel signing off for now.